Welcome to Aligned and Soulful Leadership. My name is KAVITA MELWANI, and I empower soulful, multicultural women of color to opulently shine their light without the hustle. I truly believe you can fulfill your soul's desire without losing yourself, your health, or your life in the process. I know that you can ignite your confidence and know your worth, all while walking your divine, unique path. So in this podcast, I will dive deep into topics, challenges, and blocks that women of color experience as they rise up into their aligned life and work. My deep desire is that BIPOC women can lead through their inner wisdom in a way that honors their soul. Are you ready to rise up as the leader you were born to be? Then this podcast is for you. Are you stuck in confusion or indecision? Is there a decision that you need to make and you just don't know in what direction you should choose? Well, confusion is actually a form of protection. And so why do you stay stuck in confusion? And how does it protect you? And how can you move forward and make a decision and still be okay with it, right? And move past the fear. That's what I'm going to talk about today. So if you're in a place in your life where you need to make a decision and you're not sure in what direction to go, then most likely you have been in this place for a little while. Most people that I talk to that are feeling confused about which decision they need to make or what direction they need to go in usually are there for a while, and it's most likely going to be in an area of your life that has caused confusion before. So it's kind of like a repeating pattern. So why the confusion? Most likely, it is a form of preventing you from something. It's like a form of protection. And so by staying in confusion and not making a choice, you are not going to make the wrong choice, right? So there's maybe an underlying fear of making the wrong decision. So instead of actually choosing a path or choosing something, it's easier in many ways to stay in indecision and be like in that examining place. Maybe for you, it's very comfortable to collect data, right? And so you like to look for things. If you've ever taken the Colby, which I have, I am a high fact finder, and I'm really comfortable in doing research. So I love to gather data and can be stuck in that for a while, right? Because that's comfortable for me. It's comfortable to look up things and talk to people, and it comes so naturally to me. And as long as I'm there, I also have a sense that I'm doing something. I'm moving forward, right? I'm doing my research, right? So if someone asks you, "Oh, have you decided about this yet?" You have an answer. You say, "Yeah, I'm still researching it," right? And that feels good. That feels like you're moving forward, okay? And that there is nothing wrong with doing the research, and there's nothing wrong with gathering data. What you may notice that the more people you ask for their input, the more differing opinions you are going to receive. And the more research you do, you're going to find different and conflicting data. Okay? So there comes a point where you have to stop gathering data, take a look at it, and move forward and take a step in the direction. Okay? And so that may be you. You may be in this place of, I'm just gathering data. I'm not sure, sometimes this feels right. Sometimes that feels right. And so this confusion is protecting you from what you think is making the wrong decision. Okay. And it becomes comfortable to be in this place of research. Now, if you're not a research person, right? Maybe you're not like me, a fact finder, like a lot of my clients, but you're more of this person that, will take different actions. So you're a person that learns not by finding out and doing the research, but actually taking steps, right? But your steps that you're taking are confusing, meaning they're not consistent. So one day you say, well, I am interested in moving forward in a sales. Like, I really love sales and I'm going to do that. And so you just start going in that direction. And then maybe you hit some roadblocks and it doesn't feel right. And then you switch, forget sales. Maybe I should do more of a marketing piece. And you start focusing on that. Or, what type of marketing, different types of sales, right? And so you switch by just doing, but you're not staying consistent with what you're doing. And so that's also a form of indecision and confusion, which is protecting you. Because if you continue to switch back and forth, if you stay, just like when you stay in the research mode, you're really not taking that consistent steps towards anything. You're not making that decision and you're not saying no to something. Because whenever we choose something, we say yes to something, that means we're saying no to something, right? The reality is you have to do that. We have to pick, right? And so when we make a choice, only when we make a choice and we move forward consistently, can we determine if that's the right path for us. Because unless you're harming someone or doing something that is not good, there's no wrong decision, right? Whatever path you choose will bring you some knowledge, will bring you some information, and you can change your path. But the key is to stay consistent long enough and not continue to change that, because then that becomes your mode of operating, right? You just stay in that. I'm like always confused. I don't know where to go. I'm just going to switch, or I'm going to do research and I'm just going to stay. And then you become a person who is chronically confused. You get used to that way of being. You get used to that way of showing up, and you stay there. Because even though something we know doesn't serve us, when it's a way we've been functioning for so long, it becomes comfortable until it's not. Until staying there is so uncomfortable now that you are ready to make the changes in your life. The thing with making changes is we always want the quick fix. We want to see, if we choose a path, the results right away. We want, sometimes people will come to me and they just want to feel better. And maybe sometimes after a coaching session, they feel better, they're clear in direction, and they get the clarity they need. And that's all great. But the goal is to have a deeper understanding, a deeper sense of what's driving your motivations, a deeper sense of what's underneath your actions and what's stopping you, so that you can continue to move forward beyond just after a coaching session, or just after a podcast you listen to, or just after reading a book that inspired you. Right? I know that, and I tell people this all the time, and I've heard it said also externally, that, everything that you consume is what I consider your diet, right? So consuming is not just what you're eating. What I'm talking about is what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're looking at on a daily basis. Maybe you watch videos, maybe you are on social media, maybe you read books. What groups are you in? What people do you surround yourself with? How do you spend your free time? All those things are influencing your behavior. And also, what you create externally can reinforce your behavior. So the real change starts with the inside, with the internal, with the mindset, with how you see the world and those beliefs that you have and how it's impacting you, right? So you can take those steps and see what happens and be okay with allowing it to unfold. and then take the next step and the next step. But as long as you stay in confusion, that prevents you from being really visible. It prevents you from seeing the results of your actions, either the amazing results that you can create or the failures. And whichever that is, they're both amazing because the failures teach you what don't work for you. You can learn so much from that and you can take that knowledge and move forward, right? And the successes, well, those are successful, but sometimes that success brings up a lot of fear about being visible, about being heard, being seen. And what does that mean? Do you become a target? Like, what does it mean to actually be successful? Right? And so it's better to stay in confusion and be in this place where I'm searching and I'm trying different things or both, versus actually receiving and achieving the success. Because what would happen if you achieve the success? What would your life look like? What are the fears you have of what will happen if you receive that and achieve that? Like, really think about that for a moment. You know, I'm sure you've heard the quote from A Course in Miracles, Marianne Williamson, about our greatest fear being our light, right? And so I know that's like kind of cliche now because it's been said and used so much, but that's kind of what I'm saying, right? It's like there's a part of you that really wants this success. There's a part of you that wants to move forward, that wants to make a decision and create this. And then there's a part of you that doesn't. Because what would the consequences be according to your mind, right? Not what the actual consequences could be because you really don't know, because you haven't actually achieved it. But there's a sense in your mind of what the consequences will be for your life, for your health, for your personal life, for your relationships, whatever, if you achieve the success, right? And so what is that? What is that fear? And if that is uncomfortable, then it's easier to stay in what you know and stay in the confusion. And that's protecting you from whatever consequences you think are going to happen when you reach your success. And it's protecting you from the feeling and the sadness and maybe even some shame that may come up if you fail. So that is how the confusion is protecting you. So what do you do with this? How do you move forward? So first, awareness. Be really aware of what's happening. Be honest with yourself of what's happening. Beyond just what's on the surface, right? Yes, you're scared of shining your light, but why? Why are you afraid? What are the people in your life? What has happened to them? What are external circumstances? What movies maybe you saw that saw the consequences, right? What has your brain decided are going to be the consequences of your success and or failure? What would making a decision and choosing mean? What would that mean in your relationships? What would that mean overall in your life? What would that even mean about you? Last week I spoke about money and abundance, and in that episode I talked about, sometimes we have the belief that people that make a lot of money, those people did it in a dishonest way. So do you have a belief like that says that if you're successful, that you're not a good person, that you must have been dishonest? Do you believe that success is for other people and those people are not good? Do you believe it means that if you're a mother, that you won't be there for your kids? Does it mean that you're going to miss out? Does it mean that because you've experienced burnout, that you're going to be exhausted and have health issues? And maybe you have experienced that. I know I have. What does it mean? And what are you creating? Bring that to your awareness so you can bring it to light and shift it. And that's the starting point, right? Of being aware, bringing the unconscious to your consciousness. And I'm going to always encourage you to reach out for support, to reach out to find someone that resonates with you, a coach or a therapist or a mentor. And if it's me, I'd love to speak. I'd love to speak with you. You can set up a clarity session. I always have a link available for you in the show notes when I have spots available for the clarity session. It links to my calendar, and so you can see my first availability and pick a time for us to connect, and I connect with you one-on-one, and we will talk about what's happening in your life, maybe what you're confused about. A lot of people come to me and really would like some clarity about what's been happening, and they even just through this phone call receive so much clarity. So I'd love to speak with you. Until next time, take good care and shine your light. Bye. Thank you for joining me for Aligned and Soulful Leadership. I was inspired to start this podcast as a way to empower women of color to rise up into their aligned leadership. Remember, I will have all the resources I mentioned during this episode available in the show notes at alignedandsoulfulpodcast.com. I'm your host, KAVITA, and if you enjoyed this podcast, please tell your friends. And if you haven't received my free abundance meditation and exercise, then go to alignedandsoulfulleadership.com and subscribe to my newsletter, and you will receive this powerful visualization and exercise to ignite your abundant life. Thank you. Until next time, take good care. Bye.